Hi! My name is, welcome to Fun and Friends. I'm Avalon.
I'm Sabrina.
And I'm Jasmine.
And welcome to the channel. Wow, that was an interesting start.
Hello. Sorry, everybody.
We do not have our cups of tea together right now.
Quite literally. They're all spread out all over the table. Speaking of which, I'm going to take a sip while she does her recap.
Alright, just a recap of our last chapter. Ted Rose has come to the conclusion now in his mind that Agatha was actually the person he keeps getting drawn to, much to his disliking. And Sophie has been having nemesis dreams now. They're getting stronger, and she's seeing somebody, but it's a blurry face, so we don't know who it is yet.
But what do you guys think it is?
Oh, yep, and the ball.
Who do you think might be the nemesis for, what's her name, Sophie? Who do you think might it be?
I
Put
feel
it
like
in
it's
below.
gotta be like Agatha or Ted Rose, like obviously, but maybe not.
I
don't
think
know.
it'd be interesting if it was Agatha.
Yeah.
It'd be really interesting. I think Ted Rose is kind of a giveaway, slightly, because there's already a riff going on,
Who knows? We'll see.
and like love does.
But another factor
strange
we
things.
did forget to mention is the ball's coming up, and Sophie is very livid and has been lethal towards Ted Rose about breaking his promise, which Princess can't do, of not taking her to the ball. So we'll see what happens.
Chapter 23, Magic in the Mirror. I'm going to put my feet up. Relax. I've been working all day.
Tea or coffee and come relax with us. Join us.
Buried under lace pillows, all Agatha could bear was the echo of 4 terrible words. Get your own life. What life? Before Sophie, all she could remember was darkness and pain. Sophie had made her feel normal. Sophie had made her feel needed. Without Sophie, she was a freak, and nothing. Agatha's stomach dropped. A witch never has her own fairy tale. Without Sophie, she was a witch. Ooh. For 6 days, Agatha stayed shut up in the tower, listening to the screams of Evers, terrorized by new attacks. All joint school activities had been canceled indefinitely, lunch and forest groups included. Was it all her fault? Didn't witches leave fairy tales in ruins? As the screams outside grew more panicked, her guilt screwed tighter and tighter. Then the attack stopped. Huddled in common rooms, Evers held their breaths, but when Saturday and Sunday went, Agatha knew the storm had passed. Sophie would come to say sorry at any minute. Gazing at the rose-tinted moon, Agatha hugged her pillow and prayed their friendship would survive this.
Sorry.
Such a sweet
Now
little innocent nugget.
we're concerned with the friendship.
She's Agatha's so
yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought this was
You go,
Sophie.
Sophie.
No.
Sorry, I was thinking
Oh,
Sophie.
sweet little Agatha.
No, okay, no. My heart bleeds for Agatha.
Us little
Honestly,
goth girls like our friends. We're needy. We just don't show it.
I know. No, sorry.
Fairies jingled outside the door. She swiveled to see a note slid under it. Chest pounding, she dived out of bed and swooped into sweaty palms. Interesting. Dear students, with the snowballs 6 days away, this week's challenge will see if you are prepared despite recent interruptions. There will be no further cancellations. Our traditions are what separate good from evil, even in the darkest times. A ball might be the best chance to find a happy ending. Love, Professor Dovey. Dovey. Agatha groaned and buried herself under the pink sheets. She gave in to the sleep. She began to hear the words ball, purpose, happy. They tumbled into darkness, echoing deeper and deeper until they planted in her soul like magic seeds. Revan tiptoed towards room 66. Swan crests of 6 shivering nevers glinted in the darkness behind him. If the attack stopped, maybe she's dead, Vex said. Maybe villains don't do evil on Sundays, said Brone. Or maybe Sophie got over the stupid prince, Raven lashed. You never get over love, Hort mopes in dirty long johns.
Not wrong.
Even if they steal your room in pajamas.
Oh, he loves Sophie.
He does.
She'll totally be his henchman.
Yeah, for sure.
You mean reversed? He'll totally be her henchman?
Yeah, that's what I thought I said.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sophie shouldn't even let herself love, Revan shot back. First time I told my dad I liked a girl, he slathered me in honey and sealed me in a bear den for a night. Haven't liked one since.
Excuse me? What is
there's
that
one way
purpose? What's the purpose of that?
First time I told my mother I fancied someone, she baked me in an oven for an hour, Mona agreed, green skin paling. I never think about boys
Because they
now.
don't want the kids of the Never School to love.
Right.
So their parents were like training them.
Yes. First time I liked a boy, my dad killed him.
Oh.
The group stopped and stared at Arachne. Maybe Sophie just had bad parents, she said. With solemn nods, the Never skulked into room 66, hidden in shadow, holding their breaths as they each found a piece of door and pressed their ears to it. They heard nothing. On 3, Revan mouthed. Nevers backed up, preparing to storm in. 1, 2, drink this, Anadel's voice inside. Nevers shoved their ears to the door. You're killing me, Sophie rasped weakly. Sounds of vomiting. She has a high fever, Hester. Lady Lesso said Nemesis drink. They're nothing, Sophie, Hester's voice said. Now go to sleep. Will I be better for the ball? Tedros promised. Close your eyes, dearie. Dreams, they'll come, Sophie wheezed. Shh, we're here now, Hester said. It was quiet inside, but Revan and the Nevers didn't move. They heard the voices closer to the door. Dreams of faces, high fever, obsession. Lady Lesso's right, Anadel whispered. Tedros is her nemesis. So she did meet the schoolmaster, Hester whispered back. She is in a real fairy tale. Then the whole school better watch out, Hester. Real fairy tales mean war. Annie, we need to get Tedros and Sophie back together now before the symptoms appear. But how? Your talent, Hester whispered. But we can't tell a soul. This gets out and all of our lives are at stake. Her voice stopped. Revan wheeled to the others. The door slammed. Hester peered out, eyes narrowed, but the hallway was empty. On Monday morning, Agatha awoke to a strong urge to go to class. Stomping around her room, oh, bye, buddy. Stomping around her room, oh, thank you.
He wanted to play fetch.
Oh, I see. With his new.
What the heck is this?
It's a turkey.
It's a turkey.
Turkey for the turkey.
Would you let me celebrate Halloween first?
I didn't buy it.
Okay.
But listen to the squeaker. It's great. No, you have to squeak it. Hold on. I have to get a better.
It's not broken.
That's a voice.
Jazzy, could you pass me the blanket, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you. It is October 1st, everybody.
It is the snuggle weather.
And 2 days from now, it's National Mean Girls Day, so I hope you know what October 3rd means.
What?
October 3rd.
What?
Mean Girls, the movie?
I
He
never.
turned around and asked me what day it was on October 3rd, and I got to tell him it's October 3rd. For Erin in the classroom.
I don't remember that.
I've never watched Mean Girls.
Oh, I've watched it. I'm pretty sure I watched it a few times, but
You can't sit with us. You can't
that's a
sit with
quote
us.
from it.
Okay, I was like, bye.
No, it's a quote.
I was like, okay.
To be fair, as adults, do we really want to watch that level of drama anymore?
I
It
love
doesn't
that
appeal to
movie.
me.
I love the movie because hindsight is 20/20, honey.
Gotcha.
So I love it.
Okay, anyway, background. Stomping around her room, she shoved on her rumpled pinafore and picked a lint from her greasy hair. How many days could she wait? Sophie didn't want to apologize. Sophie didn't want to be friends. She crushed Sophie's paper rose, hurled it out the window. I can have a life of my own. She searched for something else to throw, then glimpsed crumpled parchment under her toes. A ball may be your best chance. Agatha grabbed into her hands and read Professor Devy's note, eyes flaring. That's it. The ball was her chance. All she needed was one of those vile, arrogant boys to take her. Then Sophie would eat her words. She jammed her calloused feet into her clumps and stomped down the stairs, walking down the whole tower. She had 5 days to find a date to the Ever Snowball. 5 days to prove she wasn't a witch.
I had to squeak it again. It sounds like a goose.
Bowie got off to a bizarre start when Professor Anemone pranced in 10 minutes late wearing a white swan feather dress with a high rump and scandalously short hem, along with purple pantyhose, sparkly garters, and a crown that could have been upside-down chandelier.
Wait, who was wearing that?
Professor Anemone.
My goodness gracious, I feel like it's that Hunger Games lady in the beginning with her
Yeah.
excessive outfits.
Yes, agreed.
Some of you may die.
Die.
Behold, true ball elegance, she preened, careening her tail feathers. A good thing boys can't...
That was him, not me.
Chewy.
Speaking of tail feathers.
A good thing boys can't ask me to the ball, or many of you would lose your princes.
Wow.
You want teenage boys, lady.
Yikes. Excuse you. Yeah. She asked her students, she basked in her student stares. Yes, isn't it divine? I was told by the Empress Brasilla that this was all the rage in Pootsie. Pootsie? Where's Pootsie? Kiko whisked. Home to a lot of angry swans, said Beatrix.
Love it.
I'm sorry, that was great.
That was.
Because your suitors have chosen to wait until the circus to propose. Okay, hold on.
Stop it.
Stop it. Because your suitors have chosen to wait until the circus to propose, I am certain. I caution you to take this week's challenge seriously, Professor Anemone huffed. An exceptionally good or poor performance could well change a boy's mind. Suppose Tedros did promise to take Sophie to the ball, Rena whispered to Beatrix. Princes can't break their promises without something terrible happening. Some promises were meant to be broken, Beatrix retorted. If anyone tries to ruin my night with Tedros, I promise they won't survive the night.
Let's just make some threats.
Yep.
That's kind of up her alley.
It is.
Of course, not all of you will be asked to the snowball, warned Professor Anemone. Every year, one woeful girl is failed because boys would rather take half ranks than take her, and such a girl who can't find a boy even under the most preposterous circumstances. Well, she must be a witch, mustn't she?
No.
Agatha felt everyone's eyes on her, failed if a boy didn't ask her. Now finding a date was a matter of life or death. For today's challenge, you must try to see who your date for the ball will be, her teacher declared. Only when you see a boy's face clearly in your head will you know he wants you to. Now join the person beside you and take turns proposing. When it's your turn to accept...
That's my response to proposing too, bro.
Close your eyes and see who appears. Agatha turned to Millicent across her desk, who looked poised to vomit. Dear, Agatha, will you be my princess for the ball? She heaved and retched so loud Agatha jumped. Oh, who was she kidding? She looked down at her bony limbs, pasty skin, and nails bitten to the nub. What boy would choose her to the ball? As hope seeped out of her, she glanced at girls' eyes closed in euphoria, dreaming of their princes' faces. It is a yes or no question, Millicent moaned. With a sigh, Agatha closed her eyes and tried to imagine her prince's face, but all she could hear were the echoes of boys fighting to not be her date. There's no one left for you, dear. But I thought every boy had to go, Professor Devi. Well, the last one killed himself rather than take you. Phantom laughter shrieked in her ears. Agatha gritted her teeth. I'm not a witch. The boys' voices softened. I'm not a witch. The voices receded into darkness. But there was nothing in its place, nothing to believe in. I'm not a witch. Nothing. Something. A milky, faceless silhouette born out of the darkness. He bent before her on one knee and took her hand. Ooh. Are you feeling all right? She opened her eyes. Professor Anemone was staring at her. So was the rest of the class. You think so? But you smiled. A real smile. Agatha gulped. I did? Have you been bewitched? The teacher shrieked. Is this one of the Never's attacks? No, I mean, it was an accident. But my dear, it was beautiful. Agatha thought she might float out of her chair. She wasn't a witch. She wasn't a freak. She felt her smile return, bigger, brighter than before. If only the rest were so. Professor Anemone sighed. Agatha's smile collapsed into an uncomfortable. Agatha's smile collapsed into its uncomfortable frown. Dispirited, she flopped her next two challenges miserably, with Pollux calling her attitude nefarious, and Uma sighing.
It brings me back to the days of the high school dances where, like, I knew a lot of people around me got asked to dances, and I never did. I was never asked to dance, and I was never asked to dance at the dance.
I honestly ended up dancing with most of our girlfriends because I just went solo.
I dated the same guy through all of high school, so I just went with him every single time.
I know. I helped teach you how to dance.
I know. I remember that. Except for my last dance. That was one different boy for the last dance.
This is correct.
Yeah.
No.
I dumped my ex right before prom.
Oh God, it was right before.
It was literally right before prom. It was for a good reason.
Yes, it was.
It was a very good reason. So
okay, yeah, because that's right, because you and him went when I brought my boyfriend that year, because that was the year I actually did have a date to a dance. Nope. I went to all the formals without anybody, but that was my first prom, was your senior prom.
Yeah. My husband never went to a dance ever. So
I don't like it. I mean, we don't really go to parties either. This is our version of a party. Cups of tea, Disney movies.
I'm enjoying it. It's nice.
Maybe some wine if we're feeling crazy.
Yeah. Got some snacks. We're good.
Ooh, snicky snacks. I love snicky snacks.
Snicky snacks.
I said that to my kids the other day, and they're like, "What's snicky snacks?" I was like, "The best kind of snacks." They're like, "Okay." All right. Anyway. Sulking the pews before history, Agatha wondered whether Professor Sadler could, in fact, see her future. Would she find a date to the snowball? Or was Sophie right about her being a witch? Would she fail and die here alone? The problem was there was no way to ask Sadler anything, even if he was a seer. Besides, to broach the subject, she'd have to admit she'd broken into his study. Not the best way to win the teacher's confidence. In the end, it didn't matter because Sadler never showed up. He had chosen to spend the week teaching at the School for Evil, claiming that history couldn't compete with the distractions of the ball. In his absence, he relinquished the teaching of ball customs and traditions to a gang of unkempt, middle-aged sisters in musky gowns. The 12 dancing princesses from a famous fairy tale who had each won their prince at a court ball. But before they could reveal how exactly they
my toes got cold.
They squared these princesses. The 12 shrews began bickering as to the correct version of the story, then shouted over each other. Agatha closed her eyes to tune them out. No matter what Professor Anemone said, she had seen somebody's face, blurry, foggy, but real. Someone who wanted to ask her to the ball. She clenched her jaw. I'm not a witch.
I wonder how that feels, like, honestly. I wonder how that feels to be asked.
Like, finally get that, like, acknowledgement or, like...
Yeah. Like, you're, like, somebody actually wants to spend the time with you because they want to be with you.
Yeah.
You know, not even, like, romantically, but just because they want to spend
like
time with you.
Like someone being just a genuine good friend.
Yeah. Saying, hey, I'll go with you. Yeah. I wonder how that
feels.
I'll
go with you.
Thank you.
I think it kind of feels the same as when you, like, face your fears. Like, if you're scared to be a driver for your first time, or scared to ride a roller coaster for your first time, like, it's one of those, like, euphoric accomplishments.
Yeah.
Yes. You get to exhale and feel a little bit lighter.
Slowly, this silhouette appeared out of the darkness, this time closer and closer than before. He took one knee before her, lifted his face into the light. A screech jolted her awake. On stage, the 12 sisters were bellowing and butting each other like gorillas. How could those be princesses? Bellatrix cried. What? That's what happens after you get married, said Giselle. My mother stopped shaving her legs. Oh my gosh. Mine
Happens
can't.
after marriage, folks.
Don't look at me. Mine can't fit into any of her old ball gowns, Millicent said. Mine doesn't wear makeup, said Ava. Mine eats cheese, Regina sighed. Beatrix looked faint. Well, if my wife tries any of that, she can go live with the witches, Chadwick said, gnawing on a turkey leg.
There you
Wow.
And all those
He's
pictures
a winner,
of
winner chicken dinner.
Right.
and all those pictures of ever
Hi, Bubba.
after, no one
Hi,
ever
Bubs.
sees an ugly princess.
Hi, Bubs.
Hi, honey.
Has his little Halloweeny.
Yep,
scarf.
he's been rocking the Halloween scarf. He's like, excuse me, don't mess with my neck.
I'm a good boy. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I know you want to come up here.
There's no space, Bubby.
No.
If mommy comes over to me, we can maybe squeeze him right there. Please excuse the temporary 5-minute break for cuteness factor, because this
Yeah.
dog is just too cute.
Lays his head on her lap. You're
You're
such a ham. You're such a ham.
I'm needy and I know it.
Can I high five? Can I have it? Thank you. You good boy.
Very handsome.
He's like, okay, where's my treat now?
I know you want to come up here.
Do you want to be lap dog?
Come on.
You want to
Try
try?
you. Come on.
He's like, I'm not sure about this.
No, I think he's coming around.
Oh, I think he's gonna go over on that
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
Okay. Out of eye shot. Okay.
Here, you
Oh,
can be in
come
the-
here. Do you want to
can
come
be
a
in
little
the
further?
video.
Come here. You can come a little further. Come on.
Come
Come
on.
on. Come on.
Come
A
on.
little bit further. Come on.
I don't know if I can support that much weight on my bare heel.
Okay, fair enough.
There we go.
There we go. It is fun and friends.
Yes.
He noticed Agatha sitting stiffly next to him. Oh, no offense. By lunch, Agatha had forgotten all about finding a date and wanted to go groveling back to Sophie. But she, Hester, and Annabelle were nowhere to be found, or Dot, for that matter. And the Nevers seemed curiously subdued on their side of the clearing. Meanwhile, she could hear other girls chuckling as Chadwick retold the story to different groups, the no offense line sounding more offensive each time. Even worse, Tedros kept giving her strange looks between horseshoe throws, and an especially strange one after she dropped her bowl of beet stew all over her lap. Kiko plopped down beside her. Don't be upset. It can't be true. What? The two boys thing? What two boys thing? You know, they all made a pact for two boys to go together rather than ask you. Agatha stared at her. Oh no, Kiko squeaked and fled. In Good Deeds, Professor Dudley gave them a written test on how to handle mortal predicaments at the ball. For instance, number 1, if you attend the ball with someone other than your first choice, but your first choice, who you're madly in love with, asks you to dance, do you A, kindly inform them that if you wanted to dance with you, they should have asked you to the ball, B, dance with them, but only to a fast-paced rondel, C, ditch your date for the first choice, or D, ask your date what they would feel comfortable with?
Julie, would you be my date so I don't have to worry about this?
Too bad he's my date.
You have a husband.
I'm taking the dog. My husband don't dance.
Your husband will be with my boyfriend in the corner, just chit-chatting then. 'Cause he doesn't like to dance.
We'll have like a dance party with all of us with the dog.
Yes, I like that. I like it.
So you're gonna betray me? You're gonna go dancing with other women?
My dad?
How could you?
He brought us into his life.
Yeah.
You're his aunt. I'm his mother. Agatha answered D. Underneath it, she wrote, unless no one would ever ask you to a ball, let alone dance, then this question does not apply. Upon arriving at the ball, you notice your friend's breath smells unbearably of garlic and trout. However, your friend is going to the person you hoped would ask you to the ball. Do you A, inform your friend at once of their foul odor, B, say nothing since it's your friend's fault they smell, C, Say nothing because you will enjoy watching them get embarrassed. Or D. Offer them a piece of sweet licorice without mentioning their breath.
D.
Agatha answered A. She added, because at least bad breath is temporary, ugly is forever. Number 3. A baby dove with a broken wingtip, a baby dove with a broken wing slips into the good hall, crashes to the dance floor during the last waltz, and is in severe danger of being crushed. Do you A. Scream and stop the dance, B. Finish the dance, then attend to the dove, C. Kick the dove off the floor while dancing so it's safe, then attend to it after, or D. Abandon the dance and rescue the dove, even if it means embarrassing your partner.
Abandon the dance.
Agatha answered D. My partner is imaginary. I'm sure he won't mind. She answered the next 27 questions in the same spirit. Perched on her desk made out of sugar plums, Professor Dovey scored the tests and then shoved them under a gleaming pumpkin weight, face growing, oh my gosh, grimmer and grimmer. Just what I've been afraid of, she fumed, flinging the tests back at her students. Your answers are vain, vicious, and at times downright villainous. No wonder that Sophie girl made fools of you. Attacks are over, aren't they? Tedros muttered. No thanks to you, Professor Dovey barked, thrusting a red-drenched test at him. A never wins a trial. Lays waste to our school and no ever to catch her? No one good to put down a student? She slung tests across a row. Must I remind you that the Circus of Talents is in 4 days, and that whoever wins the circus has the talent theater moved to their school? Do you want the theater moved to evil? Do you want to walk with the shame of evil with the rest of your school year? No one could meet her eyes. To be good, you must prove yourself good, Evers, Professor Dovey warned. Defend, forgive, help, give, love. Those are our rules, but it is your choice to follow them. As she went over the test, excruciatingly every wrong answer, Sophie shoved hers away. But then she noticed the corner. 100%. See me. When the fairies chimed at the end of class, Professor Dovey shooed all the Evers out, closed the pumpkin candy door, and locked it. She turned and found Agatha atop her desk eating a sugar plum. So if I follow the rules, Agatha said, chomping loudly, I'm not a witch? Professor Dovey eyed the new hole in her desk. Only a truly good soul lives these rules, yes. What if my face is evil? Agatha said. Oh, Agatha, don't be ridiculous. What if my face is evil? Her teacher flinched at her tone. I'm far from home. I've lost my only friend. Everyone here hates me, and all I want is to find some kind of happy ending. Agatha said, red hot. But you can't even tell me the truth. My ending is not about what good I do. It's about or what's inside of me. It's about how I look. Spit flung out of her mouth. I never even had a chance. For a long moment, Professor Dovey just gazed at the door. Then she sat down at her desk next to Agatha, broke off a sugar plum, and bit into it with a juicy squirt. What did you think of Beatrix the first time you saw her? Agatha shared a candy plum with the teacher's hand in her teacher's hand. Agatha? I don't know. She was beautiful, Agatha groused, remembering the fart-filled interaction. And now, she's revolting. Has she gotten less pretty? No, but... So she's beautiful or not? Yes, at first sight. So beauty only lasts at a glance? Not if you're a good person. So it's being good that matters. I thought you said it was looks. Agatha opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Beauty only fights truth so long, Agatha. You and Beatrix share more in common than you think. Great, I can be your animal slave, Agatha said and bit into her plum. Professor Dovey stood up. Agatha, what do you see when you look in the mirror? I don't look in mirrors. Why is that? Because horses and hogs don't sit around ogling their reflections. What is it you're afraid to see? Professor Dovey said, leaning near the pumpkin candy door. I'm not afraid of mirrors, Agatha snorted. Then look in this one. She glanced up and saw the door near Professor Dovey was now a smooth, polished mirror. She turned away. Cute trick. That one in our book? Look in the mirror, Agatha, Professor Dovey said calmly. This is stupid. Agatha leapt off the desk and trampled past her, head down to avoid her reflection. She couldn't find the doorknob. Let me out! She clawed at the door, closing her eyes every time she saw herself. If you look in the mirror, you may leave. Agatha struggled to make her finger glow. Let me out. Then look in the mirror. Let me out, or else. Just one look. Agatha slammed her clump against the glass. With a shiver, the mirror shattered, and she shielded herself from the shimmer and dust. Then, when crashes petered into silence, she slowly lifted her head. A new mirror glared back. Make it go away, she pleaded, hiding her face. Just try, Agatha. I can't. Why? Because I'm ugly. And what if you were beautiful? Look at me, Agatha moaned. Suppose you were, but suppose you were like the girls in the storybooks, Agatha. I don't read that garbage, Agatha snapped. You wouldn't be here if you didn't, Agatha stiffened.
How did you know?
She's a reader, remember?
You read them just like your friend, dear, said Professor Dovey. The question is why? Agatha didn't say anything for a long time. If I was beautiful, she asked quietly. Yes, dear. Agatha looked up, eyes glistening. I'd be happy. That's odd, her teacher said, sweeping to her desk. That's just what Ella of Maidenvale said to me. Well, 3 cheers for Ella of Maidenvale, Agatha skulked. I gave her a visit when I found out she wished to go to a ball. I gave her a visit when I wished she would go to a ball, when she wished she could go to a ball, and then couldn't go through with it. All she needed was a new face and a new pair of shoes.
Fairy godmother, right here. She's Cinderella.
I didn't see what this has to do with anything. Agatha's eyes widened. Ella? Cinderella?
I got it.
Not even my best work, however notorious, said her teacher, caressing the pumpkin paperweight. You know, they sell these in Maidenvale. Doesn't match Ella's coach at all, really. Agatha staggered back. But that means you're the most wished-for fairy godmother in the endless woods, at your service, my dear. Agatha's head felt light. She leaned against the door. I warned you when you saved that gargoyle, Agatha, Professor Dovey said. You are a powerful talent, good enough to conquer any evil, good enough to find your happy ending, even if you lost your way. Everything you need is inside you, Agatha, and now more than ever, we need you to let it out. But if it's beauty that's holding you back, dear... She sighed. Well, that's easily taken care of, isn't that? She reached into her green gown. She pulled out a cherry wood wand. Now close your eyes and make a wish. Agatha blinked to make sure she was awake. Fairy tales always punish girls like her. Fairy tales never gave ugly girls wishes. Any wish? She said, voice cracking. Any wish, said Fairy Godmother. And I have to say it out loud? I'm not a mind reader, dear. Agatha looked through her tears. But I've never said it to anyone. Well, it's about that time. Trembling, Agatha looked at the wand in her hand and closed her eyes. Could this really be happening? I wish. She couldn't breathe. To be, Magic responds with conviction, I'm afraid, said Professor Dovey. Agatha gulped for air. All she could do was think of Sophie. Sophie staring right at her as if she were a dog. Get your own life. Her heart suddenly seared hot with anger. Teeth clenched, she curled her fists, raised her head, and with a shout, I wish to be beautiful. A swish of a wand and a sickening crack, Agatha opened her eyes. Professor Dovey frowned at the broken wand in her hand. A bit ambitious, that wish. We'll have to do it the old-fashioned way.
A little bit of makeup.
Yeah.
She let out a deafening whistle, and 6 pink-skinned, 7-foot, rainbow-haired nymphs landed.
Cute.
7 foot. 7 foot. That's big.
Nymphs.
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Speak
Yeah.
7 foot, one single foot. Like
No.
How does it-
1 foot.
what's it read in here?
7-foot. They're tall. They're big. They're huge.
Terrifying. And they're pink.
Yeah. She let a deafening whistle, and 6 pink-skinned, 7-foot, rainbow-haired nymphs landed down through the window in a neat row.
Well, there's some.
That's so
Alright.
big nymphs.
That beauty squad's a little fierce.
I'd be scared.
Yes.
Agatha backed
To be
against
fair,
the...
they need the quarterback squad for her.
I see why Agatha's reaction is good. Agatha backed against the mirror. Wait, hold on.
Wait a minute now.
Wait a
Side
minute.
eye.
They'll be gentle as they can. Agatha managed to yowl before the nymphs descended on her like bears. Yikes! Professor Dovey shielded her eyes from the carnage. They really are too tall.
It reminds me of.
She literally says it. They really are too tall.
It reminds me of in Princess Diaries.
Yeah,
Yes.
Princess
Where
Diaries.
they're like, "Ow, you broke my hair. You broke my brush.
You broke my brush.
Oh
Yeah.
no, you broke my glasses."
Yeah.
But yeah,
She also
like,
broke, the brush.
like that extreme torture.
Yeah.
Like,
Is it?
Agatha's eyes fluttered open in shadow. She felt achy and strange, as if she'd been asleep for days. She barely took in her fully dressed body, slumped in a green chair, restraints undone. She was in the groom room. The nymphs were gone. Agatha jumped from the chair. The aromatic bath pools were all sudsy and flooded. The rose-red makeup station in front of her was lined with hundreds of bottles of uncorked waxes, creams, dyes, and masks. In the sinks were used razors, files, knives, and picks. On the floor were mounds of shorn hair. Agatha picked some up. It was blonde. Mirror.
Why would they make her blonde?
She whipped around, but the chair and the mirror stations were gone. She frantically touched her hair, her skin. Everything felt softer, smoother. She touched her lips, her nose, her chin. Everything felt daintier. All she needed was a new face. She collapsed back in her chair. They did it. They did the impossible. She was normal. She wasn't just normal. She was pretty. She was lovable. She was beautiful. Finally, she can live. Finally, she can be happy. Napping in this nest atop the door, Aramabel let out a particularly loud snore as it swung open. Have a good night, Aramabel. Amarabel. I don't know.
Albemarle?
Just go with it. Just go with it.
Albert. Call him Albert.
Peeked out a spectacled eye. Have a good night, Aga. Oh my. Agatha's smile only grew as she ascended the steps to the first floor. She had to get to a gilded mirror near the supper hall. She had memorized all the mirror locations in the school so she could avoid them. Agatha felt felt a giddy light. Would she even be recognized? Or would she even recognize herself? She heard gasps and saw Rena and Millicent goggling down at her through the gap in the spiral staircase. Hello, Rena. Agatha beamed. Hello, Millicent. Both girls were too stunned to wave back. As they waltzed to the stair room, Agatha felt her smile grow even wider. Climbing up the legend's obelisk, Chadwick and Nicholas considered the portraits of past Evergirls. Rapunzel was a 4 at best, said Chadwick, hanging off a brick like a mountaineer. But this Martine was a solid 9. Too bad she ended up a horse, said Nicholas. Wait until they put Agatha on the wall. She'll end up as a... What? What will I end up? Chadwick turned to Agatha. He gaped, open-mouthed. A cat? Agatha grinned. I seem to have eaten your tongue. Oh, Nicholas chimed, and Chadwick kicked him off the pillar. Smiling so wide it hurt now, Agatha sauntered up the Valor stairs towards the supper hall. She glided through the royal blue arches for the gold double doors, ready to face the mirror inside, ready to feel what Sophie had felt all her life. But just as she reached for them, the doors opened in her face. Excuse me! Agatha heard the voice before she saw him. Slowly, he looked up, heart thundering. Tedros stared at her, looking so confused she thought she had somehow petrified him with a villain spell. He coughed, as if he was trying to find his voice. Hi? Hi, Agatha said, smiling stupidly. Silence. What's for supper? She said, even more stupidly. Duckling, he squeaked. He coughed again.
My goodness.
Sorry, it's just you look so... Agatha suddenly felt a strange feeling. It scared her. I know, not me, she blurted and fled around the corner. She lunged into a corner and cowered under a portrait frame. What did they do? Had they exchanged her soul when they given her a new face? Had they replaced her heart when they gave her a new body? Why were her palms drenched? Why was her stomach fluttering? Where was the insult for Tedros she had always had on her lips? Where in heaven and earth could possibly make her smile at a boy? She hated boys. She had always hated boys. She wouldn't even smile at one, even if she was forced at sword point. Agatha realized where she was. The portrait she was under wasn't a portrait. Sweating with dread, she stood to face the hall's giant mirror, ready to see a stranger. Agatha closed her eyes in shock. She opened them again. But the bath pools, bottles, blonde hair. She shrank against the wall, panicked. The wish, the wand? But it was all part of the fairy godmother's ruse. For the nymphs haven't done anything to Agatha at all. She glimpsed the greasy black hair and bug eyes and dropped to the floor in horror. I'm still ugly. I'm still a witch. Wait. What about Armabel? What about Rena, Chadwick, Tedros? They were mirrors too, weren't they? Mirrors that told her she wasn't ugly anymore. Slowly, Agatha rose, inching back into her reflection. For the first time in her life, she didn't look away. Beauty can only fight the truth for so long, Agatha. All these years, she believed she was what she looked like, an unlovable, dark-hearted witch. But in the hall, she believed something different. For a moment, she had unchained her heart and let light rush in. Gently, Agatha touched her face in the mirror, glowing from the inside. A face no one recognized because it was so happy. There could be no turning back now. The breadcrumbs on the dark trail were gone. Instead, she had the truth to guide her, a truth greater than any magic. I've been beautiful all along. Agatha burst into deep, cleansing sobs, never surrendering her smile. She didn't hear the screams of someone far away, woken from her worst dream yet. Hope in the toilet.
Well,
That was a lot.
I like what they did though, that they didn't actually change her, that it's, the beauty was within. I think that was really smart of the teacher.
I do too. I agree. That was really nice.
Yeah, I was like, I remembered this from inside the book, and I was like, okay, I love their reactions to this right now. I was like, I'm not gonna give it away. It was so good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
I like
Good
that.
worm feels. It was a good worm feels chapter.
It was a really good one.
It was a nice
Not
break.
that the next chapter title has any inclination of it going sharp left after this.
Hey, it's like the third half of the book is like really good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like after the woods scene is like
It's uphill from
it's
there.
all good.
Good.
I mean, not that the first half of the book wasn't really good, but
Just a lot of prelogue,
pinnacle point, and then it's the
exactly.
We're at takeoff right now.
We're at takeoff. In the last part of the book, I think we only have a couple of chapters left, so exciting.
I think you said there's like 33. I think we're on like 22, so we still have like a third of the
10.
book.
Yeah.
Are
I think
we?
there's 33.
Yeah, we just announced that we got to
A third.
Chapter 24, and I thought that there was 30 chapters.
33.
Yeah, 30 chapters.
Oh,
So we only
nice.
have 6 chapters left.
Woo! We're almost there, guys.
Hey, stinky boy.
So how did you guys like that chapter? Let us know down below what you think of it. If you like the fact that they didn't actually change her physical appearance, or would you rather to get a different reaction? And what would you like to have seen more?
I think it's important because, people forget that, smiling and being happy is what makes you
Makes you attractive.
Your own life and not caring what other people think makes you look attractive.
Yeah.
Because you're enjoying your life. You're not worrying.
Exactly. I would agree with
Like
that.
this boy, he's so handsome because he just loves all the pets and touches and all his foods.
And he's
And
always
naps and-
smiling.
He's always smiling, yes.
Except for this morning when I left it to go to work.
Little baby.
He was a little mopey.
All right, guys.
All right, we will see you next time.